Hi guys, and welcome to a coffee chat. I'm Dr. Boomer Brown with Doing Good at Work. Well, we're continuing our conversation around these 5 areas of your life, my life, everybody's life. Those 5 areas again are the physical area, the mental area, the emotional area, the social area, and the spiritual area. Each one of those areas is important to your life every day. And every day you need to make some type of evaluation of how things are going in these areas. The goal here is not to have these equal boxes every day. That's not possible. That's not realistic. Some days I have a much more physical taxing day and it will suck all the energies out of the other boxes and the circle. So realizing where I am any given moment in any situation will help me relate better to the other people, to my circumstances, the things that are happening in your life. So that's why we're looking at these 5 areas. The one area today that we really want to focus on is your mental area. This is the thinking area. This is how you think. This is what you're filling your mind with. Who do you listen to? What things do you read? What things do you watch? How are you intaking information? It is affecting how you think. It's being stored inside your mind. So we've talked about the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, the creative subconscious. We've linked that to this idea called TFA, think, feel, and act, the order of operation. There's always a trigger that leads to thinking, that produces a feeling, that leads to an action, and ultimately there's a consequence. So thinking about that and getting your thinking right is really important. One of the tools that we help people understand how their thinking is going is called the self-talk tool. Let me illustrate it this way. All of us talk to ourselves. We call that self-talk. Self-talk can be either positive or negative, okay? So our minds are going, we're talking to ourselves about a situation. You're not crazy because you're talking to yourself. This is normal because that self-talk will lead to what we call a self-image. How you see yourself. This is how you see yourself internally. And this will lead to how you perform in the real world. What's your performance look like? Now watch. If this is negative self-talk that produces a negative self-image, it will lead you to perform negatively in the world. If this is positive self-talk that leads to a positive self-image, then it will lead to a positive performance. Now, this is the way the cycle works. I talk to myself, I see my image, and I perform, and I come back around and I reinforce this. You know, I've had students who have said to me about testing. They'll say, well, I'm not a very good test taker. You know, I'm probably a C student at best. Okay, and they tell themselves all the time that they're just a C student. They would see that as negative because they think A students and B students are better, and they're just a C student. So they keep saying that to themselves until they convince themselves in their image that they're only a C student. So they only prepare, and their performance that they turn in on their test or in their educational pursuits is C work. That doesn't mean C is negative. It just means in their case, they're thinking that they're less than what they could potentially do. Now, here's what I've learned, is if a student who thinks they're a C student, who sees their image as a student, produces an A on a test, or a B, higher than a C, they will say to me, well, that's not like me. I'm a C student. I'm not an A or a B student. And then on the next test, inevitably, they will produce a D or an F to realign this. This is what's happening inside your mental thinking capacity. How do you see yourself in the world? How are you talking to yourself? What is the performance level that you are trying to aspire to? I would tell you this, that if you change how you think, the positives, and focus on the positive outcomes that you want, and begin to see and talk to yourself in a positive way, then you will, more times than not, get positive outcomes. Just think about that a little bit. And think about the self-talk cycle. And see if this week, when you work on some mental actions in your life, that you can produce a different way of performing, whether it's at home, in work, in the community, wherever you are. What outcomes do you really want? You have to think in alignment with those. You have to believe through your self-image that you can do that. Well, listen, thank you for letting me share this with you. As always, if there are things in your life that you're stumbling over, whether it's a physical piece, a mental, emotional, social, or a spiritual piece, remember, you can always reach out to the professionals here at Doing Good at Work. We provide resources, we provide intervention, we provide references. There's all types of things, but we can't know what you need unless you reach out to us. Listen, thank you again for letting me share this. And as always, I look forward to seeing you next week on A Coffee Chat.